Well, get your hepatitis B candy shot. No, 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 it is not for fun, you see. Get your hepatitis B candy shot. It won't make you good, but it might help a lot. Well, get your hepatitis B candy shot. It make you feel not so good. Lord of mercy might help you a lot if you happen to have what I got. Well, it makes you feel like you're walking across anatomical ice field. It makes you feel like you're walking across an atomized baby ice field. Well, it's good to hep B. It also works for hep C. Now what I'm talking about is interferon. I'm not talking about would put you down. I'm not talking about no China white, you see, or Mexican tall, or Arabic, a fine thing to make you feel good quick. No, I'm talking about your hepatitis B candy stick. The one you got to stick in you each and every day. For so long you wonder if it'll pay. Now you wonder if it'll pay. Fact is, it may not, it probably won't, you see. Well, you got to try it anyway. If you don't wanna reach into your long old age, or even come into it sooner, you see, you got to try to get rid of that hepatitis. You got to do what you can, or maybe die a miserable death when your liver's trying all kinds of cirrhosis attacking him. So go see your doctor if you got it, see. If you got that hepatitis bug, go see your doctor mighty quick, and ask for your hepatitis B candy stick. I'm talking about is back in the year, I believe 2000. A doctor, a very cool doctor up in Seattle. She said, "Well, you got Hep B," and I had this you know, Hep C is normally what people addicts get, and so going further back into the 80s, I began to shoot dope in 1973, and the first time I ran into heroin was 1972 in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta. I was looking for some weed on the strip in Atlanta, and I had gotten burned on some weed, and I was going back up to Virginia, and I wanted to get a pound of weed, but all these people all they had was skag, man, skag. Do you know where I can get some weed? Skag. That's slang for heroin. But later on that same evening, I was at a party outside of Atlanta, and I'm almost 16, and I'd gone to school in Georgia that year, and this was some friends, and this guy is selling heroin and little dime bags, and he goes, "Oh, I just use it once a week to clear my head." So myself and a friend named John Cobo, we bought a dime bag each, but I didn't wind up using mine. I think Cobo used his that night, but I just sold it for $10 to some people up in Virginia. But then, about 6 months later, a few months later, I went to another school next year in Virginia, and I ran into some pretty heavy people, and I got some heroin that I was going to try to sell and use. This was just before I turned 17, a few weeks before, but it disappeared. I think my mother found it. My brother swears he didn't. I was thinking he must maybe thought it was hash or something. He was younger and dumber. Well, maybe not as dumb as I thought, but anyway, he swears he never touched it. Must have been my mom. But anyway, so that disappeared. And then, so it's like I'm getting these signs or something from God. Hey, don't mess with this stuff. Okay, 5 months later, I run into it again. My friend, I think I have a story about this in another video where a friend of mine I was dealing with weed with and different stuff, and he goes, "Oh, well, let's take that this $100. This guy gave me $100 to buy a half pound of weed, and we'll take that and we'll get some heroin with it, get some junk, and then turn it around and sell some of it for some weed back for him." And I believe I mentioned this in the video, but anyway, to make this long story short, it didn't work out, and I had to throw the dope that I was going to do away in the bushes, and the cops came by, and luckily they didn't find it. I found it the next morning with a friend, had my address on it, bad part of the envelope, put dope in. If you're going to throw it away from the cops, because they came out chasing us down. But anyway, that time I did get high, but on it, and I had been doing other stuff before that, a couple of months. But it all led up, to, we were sharing needles and things, and nobody really thought much about it. You clean it, maybe use bleach or something. But generally speaking, nobody really worried about that in the 70s. And then the AIDS thing came up, so people began to worry. And one of the same guy I was talking about, he told me on the phone before I left. I was at an airport, and I called him, and we talked, and he said he had AIDS, and he was like bragging. He says, no one got AIDS survives it. This was in the early 90s, so he thought that he was going to be dying from it, almost bragging like that. But anyway, so we were paranoid of that, and I got checked several times when I was in New Orleans for AIDS, and that was the big paranoia for that. And then hepatitis, I guess just people just sort of accepted that. But then, I guess when we realized, how dangerous that was, then it got to be a bigger deal. And so I was worried about that. And in fact, I was diagnosed with Hep B, and I don't really understand I'm not sure. I've forgotten, where Hep B comes from exactly, but maybe related to drugs. I assumed it was from eating some shellfish some years before, but that seemed ridiculous, you know. But thinking back on that. But anyway, I was lucky. It worked. They treat it differently now. They used interferon at the time to try to get rid of, and I don't know what the percentage is of who gets cured or not for Hep. There's Hep A, Hep C, and Hep B. I haven't thought much about it in years, so I really don't know the percentages of who gets cured or not. But I know that I was lucky, and it worked. It was a terrible experience, a really bad experience, and I had to do it. I think it was every third day or something, and even that was horrible. It made my psoriasis on my skin much worse. It made me itch. It felt like I just felt like, I can't even describe it, like I said in the song, like walking across an atomic ice field, whatever that could be like, walking across. But it was a nasty experience, and but then, on the other hand, the doctor told me that, if I have this right, I was an incredibly lucky, like 1/10 of 100. There's 99%, and then there's, 10 more. Anyway, that last percent, about 1/10 of that last percent, I was in that that didn't have the antigen or something, or did have the antigen to not be exposed to Hep C. So that is lucky. I was not able, from what I understood from her, to be exposed to Hep C, so that was one where I didn't have to have. But anyway, that's what the song's about, and just wanted to let you know. And there are other ways to treat Hep C and Hep B and Hep A. Now, I don't know much about, like I said, I don't know exactly, I forgot where these things come from. I know Hep C is straight up related to dope. Maybe Hep B is. It's the only thing I can think of that would have caused me to get it. But I know people, that didn't get it, and for some reason they didn't want to be bothered with it. They didn't want to deal with it. They didn't think they were going to be alive even in that by the time they reached that age, or they thought they were going to, they were just not looking at it. But I had a good doctor, and she, urged me to look down the line at what my future could be if I didn't get hit with a car, which that had already happened. But anyway, the point is that we don't know how long we're going to live, and if there is a possibility of a future of being alive and healthier and happier, and you can do something about it, that's a good thing to do, I think. That was one of the good things I did. And then went straight back into shooting dope after that. That was one of the bad things I did. However, I told the doctor about that. Or another doctor. Anyway, y'all have a fine afternoon, evening, morning, night, wherever you're at. And the name of the song was Hepatitis B Candy Stick. My partner, Rosalie, and I, we worked it out on the guitar, but, I just have been playing guitar too much. So, hope you guys like it on the harp. Have a good day. Bye-bye.